Just for today, do not worry. Just for today, do not anger. Just for today, judge nothing that occurs. Be impeccable with your word. Earn your living honestly. Just for today, do not live in fear, but instead allow every act to come from love. Honor your parents, teachers, ancestors, and all those who came before you, and all those who will come after you, by always doing your best. Show gratitude and respect to yourself and to all living beings. Know that you are worthy and loved exactly as you are. You are surrounded by an infinite sea of love. You are a divine spark of consciousness, life force energy manifest as human, perfectly imperfect and a part of all living things, sharing the same breath of life. Just for today, do not assume. Just for today, do not take things personally. You're asked to awaken an awareness to that which is, that which will be, and that which always has been. Forgive fear, hate, shame, guilt, anger, and resentment, first in yourself and then in others. Find solitude and stillness today. Count your many blessings. Let's take another couple of deep breaths here. Releasing the awareness from the center of the palms. When you're ready, you can relax your hands back down into your lap. Let your eyes float open slowly, letting in a little light, a little more light. Awesome. Beautiful. So just connecting with yourself, with your heart center. Gonna take some time to journal. You can journal about anything that would come from your heart space at this time. What is the current state of your heart? And talk about anything that's come up with you over this past week. It has been a very powerful week of unearthing what lies beneath the surface with the Scorpio moon. I'm going to share a little more about the Scorpio moon here in just a bit. So go ahead and take the next, we'll just say 5 to 6 minutes to journal a bit about maybe if there was something that came up for you during that meditation. There's really no right or wrong here. Just let yourself free write, get it all down with pen and paper. Take about another minute here to finish up any last thoughts. All right. So we are just, this is just a little added for you guys. This moon that we just had was a full moon in Scorpio, which began on the 7th, so just about 3 days ago. So when we have the full moon, there's like a culmination of energy about 3 days surrounding the full moon before, the day of, and after. But then you'll still kind of have that build up to it. So right now we're kind of coming down off of that Scorpio moon energy. So now is the perfect time to reflect back on how that moon might have, how you might have experienced that moon is how I'd like to phrase it. So just a little short snippet about that Scorpio moon. Scorpio unearths. No cover-ups can withstand these waters. No need to be nice. There is no striving for perfect. Only honesty is necessary. Scorpio hungers for real exchanges. Every yearning, every emotion, every story of how you sacrificed yourself and came to regret it, struggle with it, and reclaimed yourself from it, or not, satiates this sign. Yes, yes, exactly. And it's momentarily, right? It's all changing. So this full moon comes at a moment in the year when most of us have spent enough time alone to know what our secrets, flaws, and imperfections, a lot or a little, for worse or for better, may be, and probably too well. Maybe we feel like we have had enough digging in the dirt of our own psyches. Maybe we don't need a full moon in Scorpio to unearth any more. But alas, it came and went, and it certainly has uncovered and unearthed. Interpersonal dramas, that is exactly what this moon is all about. Your interpersonal relationships with those who are closest to you tend to get exaggerated when they can't be worked out in real life. When the physiological benefits of being together aren't accessible, it's easier to spin a tale about how your family, friends, coworkers, or lovers are fed up with you. Why isn't that one friend responding to my messages? Making horrible decisions for themselves. Again, why aren't they wearing that mask in that photo? So you're going to be giving judgments. You're going to feel like people are judging you. Or maybe you think your friends and family have been abducted by aliens and they're acting completely different and almost like a completely different side of them. So we need to be relentlessly kind to the parts of ourselves that fear being abandoned, that fear being betrayed and forgotten, especially during these times as we are isolated. So in these unsure and unable to find normal times, it's important to really connect with our heart center and move from the core of our being, from our essence. Scorpio pulls back the layers of an issue, sometimes exposing bone that are best left covered with flesh, skin, and clothing. It is a necessary unearthing, but it is typically very uncomfortable. So I wanted to give you guys a few more moments to, if you need, with that information. Hopefully for some of you that was more of like an aha, cathartic, like, okay, I'm not alone in this. But if there's anything else, we'll take about 5 more minutes to journal, and then we're just going to open up the floor for sharing. So, and then we're going to dive into the lesson for today. All about those interpersonal relationships. Does anybody need, I'll give you guys about another minute, but if you need more time, just say something in the chat and I'll give you guys a few more minutes if you need it before we open up for shares. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and open up the floor. Does anybody feel called to share? Of course, there's no pressure to, but if you'd like to If it's possible to turn your video on if you want to share, that's cool, but if not, that's okay too.
I can share.
Yeah, go ahead, Nikki.
Okay. My heart was racing like crazy before this video. I'm currently working on transmuting the energy with my family who constantly judge me. They mean well and they're very smart and practical. They have helped me get to a really good place in my life. I am learning that with more breathing exercises, I can perhaps get to where I truly want to be. Before this Reiki course, I had a lot of anxiety. I'm currently taking medication, which has brought a lot of clarity to my life. So my heart is grateful and happy for that. I feel much better. It's almost overwhelming, the clarity that has happened from the beginning to now. I realize that we're all in this together, and as crazy as I have felt personally, everyone else has maybe felt something a little bit more challenging or less. Like we're all facing a lot right now. So I'm just trying to put my awareness there, and it's helping a little bit.
I see you. I feel you. I am you. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Well, I kind of dipped out of there by accident because my phone died and I missed our little journaling sesh. But I've been journaling a butt ton because I've been in a online journaling retreat for the last week.
Nice.
And holy shit, guys! It was crazy. So the prompts were like insanely deep digging. I mean, like the first 3 days is just you going and like digging through your past and just writing down all of these triggers and all of these like what's your family dynamic, what's your greatest fear, what's your like the biggest challenge that you've ever gone through in your life, like what the past are you still dragging along with you, and just conceptualizing all of that and getting it onto paper and sharing those things with other people was a very lightening experience for me. One of the quotes from the training that just kind of really stuck with me was the only burden that you carry is the one that you choose not to share. It's like, oh shit, okay. Like, I've just been carrying all this shit, not talking to anybody about it, just trying to do my own little yogi thing and thinking it gets better of me to like not burden anyone else with it. No, like it was awesome. We journaled all this stuff down and we just like got to share it in mass. And that was such a cool experience. And even just getting to that phase in the training was really amazing. And the last couple of days I've just been like riding this high where I'm like, fuck all that stuff that I was carrying with me. Like it's not even there anymore. I took what I wanted from it and now it's gone. Well, not gone. It's, it shaped who I am. But and like the second half of the training is focusing on bringing the past into the future, like what we want to bring with us, and then ultimately having that become your present. Like it's like conceptualizing the past to write your future to create your present, so that your present creates your future. I don't know. It was like this whole like crazy ride, and I'm still not quite finished with it, even though the training ended yesterday. I was a little behind, but they encouraged you to kind of like go at your own pace. And like just the past like completely drained me. I mean, I was like in puddles of myself at every paragraph I wrote because it was like really intense stuff. But yeah, definitely feel the Scorpio full moon. That was a bitch and a half, but it was great. I mean, I feel fantastic now, but I didn't then. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm doing good.
I'm glad.
Well, I see you, I hear you, feel you, I am you. Thank you for sharing.
Of course. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Well, I'll go ahead and share. It's definitely been emotional this past week, and it makes sense. It's funny because, I've been paying attention a lot to the moon this week, and I'm like, you know what? That's why this is going on right now. That kind of thing. I don't know. It's hard to, I don't know the word to really use. It's hard to connect to yourself knowing that you still have baggage that has had the closure that you need. That's kind of what I've been dealing with here lately. You know, I like the point, Logan, that you shared where, the only burden that you carry is what you choose to not say. I think that's how it was worded. And that's very beautiful, and it's very bittersweet to me. Because I guess that's the situation that I've been dealing with. I don't normally, I'm the type of person to express myself, but only when it's come to a point where I've like had enough or I've been fed up with things. So it's, I have a lot of unfinished business family wise, things of that nature that I know that I need to connect with a little bit more there. Not only for my closure, but to definitely have a boundary set there as to what's right and what's wrong. Yeah, it's been emotional. A lot of things that came up for me this week. Definitely I know that new changes are coming. I know that I have support. Trying to think of anything else here. I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, I am you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you're just doing the work and having the awareness. And also, I think there is something to it. I think Nikki said she's working on being in this space of when we can see like the bigger picture and like that this is a collective, it allows us to kind of step outside of our own stuff, even if it is for just a moment, to be like, okay, I'm not in this alone. Like everybody around me, like literally everybody is going through this interpersonal, and it is important. But it's important to be like just inundate yourself with kindness and kind of come about this movement or this interpersonal examination with a deep sense of childlike curiosity instead of the fear and the upset of like what might be changing, but instead come with it with that childlike curiosity. So this week I've been looking for this book, The Woman Who Runs with Wolves, so I can read you all a specific story. I literally think it was hiding from me until like this week. It was like deep in my backpack, which I checked my backpack like 6 times last week, but it appeared. So I will be reading a story for you guys this week and sending that to you via video. And I also realized I thought I had gotten last week's up on like YouTube and sent you guys a link, but apparently that did not happen. So I'm going to get last week's session. I think it was mostly a share, but at the end we did a very short little self Reiki healing. But tonight we're going to actually do a full Reiki healing on ourselves. But I'll send you last week's video, this video, and then sometime probably midweek you're going to get a little story about the skeleton woman and some psychological breakdown of that story, which I'm excited to share with you all. But for now, we're going to go ahead and dive into our lesson for tonight, and that is understanding the 3 pillars of Reiki and moving through each one. So knowingly or unknowingly, we have been doing the first pillar of Reiki, I think every single session, give or take 1 or 2 at the beginning. And so know that the first portion of the 3 pillars of Reiki these are what Usui Sensei has said are, his 3 pillars of Reiki. We have the gas ho, which is, I'm going to go through all of these in detail, but it's the one where we just did at the beginning, where you bring your hands together and you focus on the palm chakras. You rest the awareness there. But basically, you're coming into the space of self, and you're connecting with that place where Reiki is sent from on your body. I do apologize. I might be butchering these, but this is the way that I was taught, so I'm just passing that along. The next pillar of Reiki is Raji Ho, and this 3rd pillar is Chiro. So these constitute the 3 pillars of Reiki. Making use of these techniques gives you several advantages. They prepare you as the practitioner to give Reiki. They increase the flow of Reiki energy when practiced regularly, even when you're not giving a session. And they help you determine where the client needs Reiki or where you need Reiki. Engaging the 3 pillars helps to ensure the session that will be performed is given one at the highest healing state. So I'm going to break down the steps. You're welcome to take notes, but again, you're going to get this video. So the gas ho meditation, which simply means 2 hands coming together. Usui Sensei called this technique the first pillar of Reiki. It is also mentioned on the Usui Memorial Stone, where it states, morning and evenings, sit in the gas ho position and repeat these words, which is the Reiki ideals, which I read at the end of the meditation of every class. So you would read the Reiki ideals out loud and in your heart. And this is a special meditation to attune you to be prepared to give Reiki energy. And when you do this every day and you include it in with your regular practice, then you're just primed all the time to give Reiki. And it can be done from anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes a day. So even 5 minutes of this meditation of just sitting in stillness, bringing your awareness to the palms, and then focusing on the Reiki ideals. So I know we've talked about that since the beginning of this practice of Reiki 1, but now you know that it is actually a pillar of Reiki, and it is the first pillar of Reiki. So do you guys have any questions about that? The steps really quick, I guess, before we go into questions. The steps really quick for that are, again, to sit into your comfortable seat. I always advise kind of pulling the flesh of the bottom up and out, so that way you're sitting on the pelvic floor. Bringing the hands to heart center, of course, palms touching, and the thumbs pressing into the center of the sternum. And then the next piece is to come into space with some breath. So I always do 3 deep breaths. You can really make this practice your own, though. And then sending the awareness from the breath down into where the palms are touching. And again, practicing this for 5 to 20 minutes per day. Asui Sensei recommends doing it morning and night. Can prime you for always giving Reiki, and you never know when you're going to need to be doing that. So it's a great thing to incorporate into your daily practice. So that is the first pillar of Reiki. Does anyone have any questions quickly about the first pillar of Reiki, the Gassho meditation?
I don't think so, but I do have one question. How close, like when you put your thumbs on your heart, I think I had them in a way that it was hurting my heart. So are your nails just resting against your heart, or are your thumbs kind of pointed facing the sky? I just wanted to see it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. So fingers are pointing up, and you just rest the knuckle part of your thumbs into the heart space. And I find when I start this, I tend to like really be concentrating on my palms, and I'll like press my thumbs into, or press my palms into one another, and like my hands are getting, kind of tired, my arms are getting tired, and then I just realized, oh, I need to relax. And yeah, the thumbs are just gently resting on the sternum. It's not like they're pointing and touching. It's just like the sides of the hands are resting on the chest. That's a great question.
I don't know if I was just anxious or what before, but it took me till now to figure that out. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Okay. Alrighty.
Just to that one more time, it's the Gassho meditation for pillar 1. Mm-hmm. It's comfortable erect seat, hands in prayer, thumbs in sternum, deep breaths. What can you just run through them one more time to make sure I got them all?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you got all those first ones of just coming into a quiet seat, connecting with the body, palms together. First, I focus on the breath to come into the space, to come into the body. And then I send the awareness to focus on the energy between the palm chakras, or just whatever you notice between the palm chakras. You're just bringing your awareness there, and you're just focusing your attention there. It's just a practice of keeping your attention at your palms. And this extends out so that way when you are giving Reiki, your awareness continues to stay on your palms, and that you're like sending the Reiki to the person you're working on. But that's like later, that's actually towards the third pillar. So all we're doing is priming, basically priming the awareness to be able to focus on the palm chakras. That's it. And you just sit in that and you practice for 10 to 20 minutes, 5 to 20 minutes a day. And then also somewhere in there, either at the beginning or the end or both, you'll want to repeat the Reiki ideals when you're doing it as a daily practice. Did that allow you to get all of them? All the steps?
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Nikki, did you have another question?
No, good. Thank you.
Okay, good. Awesome. Great questions. Yes, love it. Okay, and the next, and I will say Gassho is Gassho is how you spell that. Put these over here in the chat as well. So if you need to come back to it, you can. The second pillar of Reiki is called Reijiho, Reiji-ho. So this means indication of spirit, and this is the second pillar of Reiki. This is a technique that allows you to be intuitively guided to where a person needs Reiki or yourself. It can also be used to determine the best area to place the hands to help a specific illness or condition. Additionally, it can be used to determine how to carry out a session for a client. And once we learn to work with the different symbols, it can also help you identify what symbols to use, which we'll get into the symbols in the second Reiki attunement. So the steps for this are to begin with the gas home meditation. That's step 1. And when we're doing this in like a full session, you're actually going to just do the gas home meditation for just a minute or 2. Give me just a second. Okay. So step 2 is to say a prayer giving thanks to the source of Reiki and asking it to begin to flow. And it's really that simple. You can just say something in your own words, but I give thanks to the universal source energy for Reiki healing energy, and I invite it to flow through me. And it's really that simple, but I always invite you to speak this in your own words. Speaking it out loud does have power, but also like when I was getting started, I was pretty nervous. So I would just be sure to speak it in my head. Another thing that you can do if you're working with someone one-on-one and you're still a little nervous or new to it is you can be outside of the space. If there's a door and a wall between you and the other person, you can have them go ahead and set up and lay down, like if you have a massage table or if you're, doing it in your living room on your couch or wherever, because you really can do Reiki anywhere. You can always step aside somewhere and go off and do this portion a little bit separate so you don't feel as much pressure. And then once you do it enough, it really becomes very, very easy and very comfortable to even do it in front of other people and invite your client to kind of be present for that part. But in the beginning, don't put any pressure on yourself. Just doing the steps will help ignite the Reiki. And then also, as you do that second step, the third step is to say a prayer on behalf of the client, asking that he or she be completely healed. For me, that when I'm giving a practice, I often just state, Logan, I'm going to use your name as an example. So may this Reiki healing energy go to the higher power for the highest good of Logan and the highest good of all human beings. So that's typically how I state that. And I usually combine step 2 and 3, kind of mash them together. But it is important to give thanks and ask Reiki to flow, and then to acknowledge the client and ask that the Reiki healing energy go to their highest good. And then I also throw in the highest good of all human beings, because when we're healing individuals on an individual level, we're actually working on healing the collective. Does anyone have any questions about that before I go to the next part? And actually, let's pause there for a moment, and if you'll pull out your journal and just write your own version of what a prayer would be for you to begin a Reiki treatment on yourself or another person. And I think there's a little, you can use, in the chat, you can use a little thumb emoji to let me know that you're good on that. I'm just going to give you guys about a minute or 2 to write that. Give you guys about 30 more seconds here. All right. And of course, there's 3 more steps to the second pillar, but I'll give you guys time at the end to ask any questions. It's like we did on the first pillar. So from there, after you say that short little prayer, you're going to move your hands up so that your thumbs touch your third eye. And this is very similar just to how it was when it was on your heart space. It's just the side of the thumbs resting from the heart space, and you're moving it up to let the sides of the thumb rest on the third eye. This is totally just Oh, what was that?
What was the name of the second step? I didn't catch that.
It is, do you see in the chat where I typed in gas hoe - pillar 1? And then, oh, wait, you mean the second step of the...
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Okay, good.
So the second step is not the second pillar, or is that correct?
No, so the Reiki Ho is the pillar, and we're moving through, there's 6 steps for that pillar, and we're moving through all 6 steps.
Oh, shit.
Reiki Ho pillar. Yeah. Sorry.
So Gasho was we already covered all that, but giving thanks and calling in for that person, those were the first 2 steps of Reiki Ho.
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'm caught up. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. So we're at step 4 for Reiki Ho. And so at step 4, you bring from your heart space in the Gasso meditation, you bring your thumbs up to rest on the side. And this is totally a little nuanced thing for me, but it's very comfortable to place from the knuckle down this part of your thumb into your third eye. I don't know why that's comfortable. Maybe we're built that way for a reason. I don't know. But resting that into the third eye space. So everyone go ahead and give that a practice, just bringing your thumbs up to your third eye. Stay there for a few moments. Ask Reiki to guide your hands to where they are needed. You could also ask to be shown the best places to treat a specific condition, or which symbols or techniques to use during a session. So let me read that again with your thumb still resting at your third eye. Remember not to let your arms be too tense or like you're putting too much effort in. We want an effortless ease where the elbows can kind of be relaxed in towards one another. We're still holding integrity in the spine, but we're just gently placing the thumbs into the third eye. And then we're asking Reiki to guide the hands to where they are needed. You can ask to be shown the best places to treat a specific condition or area, and which symbols or techniques to be used as well. And all you're doing is inviting those to come up through your intuition into your awareness. And that's it. And then from there, you're going to follow your inner guidance and allow your hands to be directed by Reiki. So after that statement, you can let the hands come down. You might do your Boysen scanning here. And you're just notice any internal impressions that you may get and use these to improve the session. So your hands are still resting at your third eye. You can go ahead and let those come down. And then the 6th and final step to Reiki Ho is that any time during the session when you need additional guidance, you can come back to the second pillar, which is strongly advised. It does really help just to give you that or lead you to your inner guidance, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do just a very quick, short rundown so you guys can make sure you got all the steps. So step 1 of Reiki Ho, this is for the Reiki Ho pillar. Step 1 is the Gasso meditation, but it's shortened, so it's just a minute or 2. Thumbs pressed into the sternum, just for a minute or 2, noticing the area between the palms, the place at the palm chakras. Step 2, say a prayer giving thanks to Source, to the source energy of Reiki, and asking it to begin to flow now. Step 3, say a prayer on behalf of the client or on yourself. If you're giving a self session, ask that they be completely healed for their highest good. Move your hands from your heart space up to the third eye, resting your thumbs just gently along the third eye chakra. Ask Reiki to guide your hands to where they are needed. You could also ask to be shown the best place to treat a specific condition or which symbols and techniques to use during a session. And you can combine that specific step with Boysen scanning as well. Step 5 is follow your inner guidance and allow your hands to be guided by Reiki, noticing any internal impressions you may get and use these to improve the session. So from step 4, your thumbs are at your third eye, and then at step 5, they come down to do any, to allow the guidance to lead them to where they need to go. And then the final step is that you can use Reiki I, the second pillar, anytime during a session when you need additional guidance. So I typically, do this at the start of a session, excuse me, whether it be for myself or for somebody else. But then at any time when, I feel like the energy isn't my intuition isn't guiding me where I need to go, I can pause and use this technique. So if anybody has any questions or missed a step or needs clarity, I'll open up the floor here before we move into the third and final pillar. Alrighty, awesome. So the third pillar is called Chiro or Cairo. I'm not really sure the correct pronunciation. I'm going to type it out for you guys. It's actually the simplest, sort of. And the word simply means treatment and is the third pillar of Reiki. The kind of treatment Usui Sensei taught relies on one's inner guidance rather than on a predetermined set of hand positions. In this way, each treatment is unique and focuses on what the client needs to create wholeness in themselves and in their highest good. After doing Reiki I, continue to follow your inner guidance, allowing yourself to be directed. Treat as many places on the body or in the aura as you feel compelled to. During this process, allow yourself to enter a very relaxed state and to become one with the Reiki energy. So if my mind wanders, which we learned from the Gasso meditation, the first pillar, that the mind is going to wander. There's no need to beat yourself up over it. There's no need to feel like you're not a good Reiki practitioner if your thoughts go elsewhere. But it is important to practice that so we can focus or practice bringing our awareness back to the treatment at hand, or whatever we're doing at hand, to be present with it. So for me, what I tend to do when I'm working on a specific person, whether I know their name or not, I will just repeat a mantra in my head that says, may this Reiki energy go to the highest good of, if I know their name, I'll plug that in. If I don't know their name, I'll say of this individual, of this divine being, whatever. Again, I just allow my intuition to guide me here. But having a mantra to keep me focused while I'm in that space allows me to become one with that Reiki energy. And it's also a practice of not letting your ego get in the way. It can be really exciting when we get readings or we see little, images, and then we want to place our judgments on them. Like if you see a bird or something, you might be like, oh, they're trying to fly out of their negative situation that they're in. But really, our job is just to step aside, acknowledge what we see or what we feel. Sometimes it could be heat. Sometimes you could get an overwhelming emotion of sadness or fear or even joy or happiness. And it's our job just to acknowledge those messages. And then if you feel compelled, again, listening to your own intuition, if you feel compelled to pass those messages along, it's really surprising what the client ends up saying, because they often relate to those messages in a way that we cannot, because those messages aren't for us. We're just acting as the messenger. And not all Reiki practitioners get messages to give to clients, but if you do, you don't have to be afraid of them. You don't have to be like, what is this? I didn't know this was part of this. And it might be or it might not be. And messages come in all different kinds of form. Those ones I was speaking of were internal messages. But one of my very good friends, who's an awesome Reiki practitioner, Taylor knows her very well. Her name's Michelle. She ends up getting messages from the outside environment, which I thought was really fascinating. So again, you might get messages, you might not. Either way, it doesn't, again, Reiki's for anybody. It doesn't make you any more or any less of a Reiki practitioner. So before we move into doing our own treatment, which we're going to do, we're going to learn all of the self-treatment hand positions. But before we get into those, does anybody have any questions about the 3 pillars of Reiki, or even just the last pillar of Reiki? All right. Awesome. So you have your, we are going to use our Reiji Ho prayer for ourselves. I'll allow you guys to keep your mics muted. But again, if you're in a comfortable place where you can speak your little prayer out loud, it does give it a little more power, I think. But before we do a self-treatment, a full self-treatment, we're going to take about a 5-minute break here. So if you need to go to the restroom, if you need to go grab more water, you can do that. So take about 5 minutes here. It's 9:13 now, so we'll get back here at 9:18. Alrighty. Awesome. So if hopefully you're already in a comfortable space, but if for any reason you aren't, take your time to get set up in a place that's comfortable. We're going to be this is what I like to call labbing. So we're very much learning this session. This doesn't have to feel like a full uninterrupted Reiki session. Remember, Reiki given in any amount is good because it can only be used for the highest good. So we'll use the 3 pillars of Reiki. And remember that we'll be using Boysen scanning as kind of tied in with the Reiji step, the 2nd pillar. That's the Boysen scanning, again, is where you're moving your hands. They're at a hover above your body, and you're moving your hands kind of over top of areas to see if that's where you're drawn to give Reiki to. But we're going to learn the different hand positions, full hand positions for a Reiki technique on yourself, a Reiki session on yourself. And remember that we're going to learn all of these tonight, but you're never like, there's no authority over you that's like, you have to use every single one of these every time that you give a session, or it's not a real session. That does not exist. Reiki is, you give it off of your own intuition and know that that intuition comes from the higher power, comes from source energy, which is where Reiki comes from. And that Reiki is guided intuitively, and it knows exactly where to go. So like if someone needs Reiki on their feet, and you're giving Reiki on their jaw or their shoulders, it's going to move down to their feet. So no worries there. But let's go ahead, since we just learned the 3 pillars of Reiki, let's move through that together on our own. So bringing the hands together at heart center, placing your thumbs in your sternum, just the side of your thumbs into your sternum. Relax here. Remember, an effortless ease for the arms and for the rest of the body. Focus the awareness down into the palm chakras. And finding your prayer, and you're more than welcome to read it out of your journal. Stating that prayer out loud, giving thanks to source energy and asking it to begin to flow, and then saying a prayer on behalf of yourself. Take a few moments to do that. Beautiful. Now lightly bring the thumbs and just rest them along the 3rd eye. Reiki energy, I ask you to guide my hands to where they are needed. Show me the best places for my hands and intuitively guide me to the best techniques to offer during this session. Now just listening to that intuition. We'll do a little Boysen scanning, or whatever you're called to do next here, to take in information about where Reiki energy needs to be given at this time. So traditional Boysen scanning is just to take a few moments and hover the hands against just really any and all areas that's comfortable for you to hover the hands over on yourself. And slowly and at your own pace, moving to different areas, or perhaps your intuition is telling you to leave your hands in one space to take in information, and that's fine. Take about 1 more minute here. And we're going to begin to move right into the third pillar, the treatment portion, beginning to learn each of the hand positions. If you have glasses on, you might set those to the side. For position number 1, you're going to place your hands on your face with fingers at the top of your forehead. The hands are touching, so the sides of the hands are touching, and your hands are just resting over top of the majority of your face that they can. And again, if you need a mantra to repeat here to keep the mind focused on the palm chakras and that inner Reiki energy flowing, your mantra might be something as, I allow this, or thank you, higher power, for allowing this Reiki healing to go to my highest good. Thank you, higher power, for allowing this Reiki energy to go to my highest good. Thank you, higher power, for allowing this Reiki energy to move to my highest good. Remember the effortless ease with the arms. So it's good to spend 1 to 3 minutes on each portion of the body. So tonight, just for length of time, we're just going to spend about 1 minute on each area. So from here, you'll move the hands. Really, they kind of place over the sides of the head, really over the ears. And you're going to move your hands. Really, the hands are just going to slide up just a little bit to where the base of the palm is still touching the top of the ears, and the fingertips should kind of just touch at the crown of the head. If you need to see that more, I'll move a little closer. You get to see that. We'll spend about a minute here. Thank you, higher power, for allowing this Reiki energy to move to my highest good. We're going to begin to slide the hands around towards the back of the head. So place your hands on the back of the head with the base of the palms at the base of the skull. And the fingers are pointing up as much as is comfortable. And the sides of maybe the longest two fingers, the pointer finger and the middle finger, are just touching. The sides or the tips of them are just touching. To give the arms a little bit of a break here, it's actually nice if you press the head gently into the palms. Notice how that helps relieve tension if there's kind of a tightness being built up here in the arms. You are also invited to do this lying down. It might be more gentle for the arms as well. So next we're going to move to place one hand over the throat and one hand over the heart. Know that it doesn't matter which hand is on the throat and which hand is on the heart. Just do what your intuition calls you to do here. Thank you, higher power, for allowing this Reiki energy to go to my highest good. Thank you, higher power, for allowing this Reiki energy to go to my highest good. Wonderful. And the next hand position is just to let the hands rest on the shoulders, kind of around the neck, just kind of towards the back though. For me, this works a little better if I actually cross my arms and let the palms rest over the shoulders. So I'll kind of move a little closer to the camera so you can see that. So for me, it's easier for me to cross my arms like this, crossing them kind of at the elbows, and then let the hands rest. It's kind of where the neck and the shoulder meets, in that area. Nice. So the next position, you're going to move to the upper stomach, but just below the rib cage. So I like to press my thumbs into my rib cage and let the fingers rest there with the fingers just touching. The next hand position just simply looks like moving the palms down just about one hand's length below that last position. The next hand position moves from the lower abdomen to the area where kind of the top of the thighs meet the torso. And you just point the fingers straight down. They're kind of like the fingers are on top of the thighs, and the palm of the hand is kind of on the hip bone area. Remember to have an effortless ease in the arms. May this Reiki healing go to my highest good. Thank you, higher power. May this Reiki energy go to heal my highest good. Okay. And the next hand position is actually going to move around to the back. So you'll bring your hands to, it's really your mid-back. Again, you want to kind of bring your thumbs along to touch just the bottom of your rib cage, but on the side body, and then just bring the hands around. The fingertips are just touching, but they're not overlapping. And then the next position, you're just going to move the hands down. The palms will be on the low back, and the fingers are just at the top of the bottom. All right, and the next position comes, so if you are lying down, you'll need to sit up for these next few hand positions. You'll want to hold your left foot with both hands in a way that is comfortable for you. So there's not really a right or a wrong here, just wrapping the hands around the left foot, sending that Reiki energy there. Awesome, and next we'll move on to the right foot, just gently wrapping both hands around the right foot. And the last position is again on the feet, but place the right hand on the right foot and the left hand on the left foot. Awesome. And then finally, just move the hands kind of in that hovering way, the Boysen scan. Do the Boysen scan over any other areas of your body. And if you feel called to give Reiki energy to any areas as you scan over them, then go ahead and allow that energy to flow to those places. or if there was a particular hand position that we did that you feel called to give more Reiki in that area, in that same hand position, you can go back to that as well. And finally, we're going to bring our hands anywhere from 1 to 4 feet, like away, but we're pointing the palms in towards our upper body. Just kind of wherever it's comfortable for you to hold the hands. If it's more comfortable for you to completely let the elbows rest into the sides of the body, it doesn't really matter, just as long as you're pointing the palms in towards your upper body. Now you are, with this technique, you're focusing on directly connecting with the aura. So imagine beaming that Reiki energy into the aura. And because it is divinely guided, that Reiki energy moves through the aura, moves any blockages in the aura, and then permeates into the physical body. Wonderful. You can begin to relax the arms when you feel ready. Take a few more moments just breathing in this space of both giving and receiving. Noticing what you notice. When you feel ready, you can let the eyes slowly open, letting just a little bit of light in at a time. They gradually open fully. I invite you to move right into journaling about that experience. We're just going to take 3 to 4 minutes just to jot down any pressing things about that experience. We'll take about 1 more minute here. Write down any pressing thoughts or experiences, sensations, images, colors, anything that came up for you during that healing session. Awesome. All right. Well, first of all, let me congratulate you on doing a full and complete Reiki session from start to finish. Well, there is one more step. And that is you can do this with the dry breathing, or you can do this with just the hands. It looks like Boysen scanning, but really what you're doing is clearing anything out of the aura. You're just smoothing out the aura. You can also do this with a selenite wand. If you have that, don't worry about that. If you don't have one, but just taking your, the intention is just to clear and smooth out the energies. Move over the top of the arms, over the top of the body, and then over and around the feet. Looks like this. And that is a full and complete self-Reiki session. So congratulations on doing that from start to finish. If anyone would like to share about their experience, I'm going to open up the floor here. Everything's valid. Any questions you might have, I would be happy to answer and love to hear.
I'm almost too relaxed to speak, so I'm going to speak now before I'm too relaxed to do anything more. For me, the auric part at the end was super powerful. I felt like almost like a hole or a gap in my energetic field around my heart. Just like, I think I tend to over allow my energy to be drained from my heart space. And I think that brought my attention to be more considerate of, you know, how I spend my energy there.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I see you. I feel you. I hear you. I am you. Thank you. All right.
Hi.
Hey, Nikki.
That was this journey has just been very fast for me, so I'm doing the best I can. I definitely am starting to feel the energy, and it's really exciting, but I'm trying to stay humble and connected at the same time. But I'm definitely starting to feel the energy, which is really exciting. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. I see you. I feel you. I hear you. I am you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Your video is frozen for some reason. I don't know if it's like that for anybody else.
Oh, no.
It's just, you're frozen, but it's okay as long as I can still hear you. That was definitely comforting for me. It was a relief, feeling of happiness. Definitely I need to work on my heart space for sure. It's pretty painful in that area. It was just like a very warm, like a melting kind of feeling as I was going through. And it was like every part that my hand touched, it was just it kind of took away that soreness. It took away that ache that was there. That was really relaxing. I did get ringing in my ears. It was like blaring, like in my left ear. I did get a sense of like feeling lighter. I feel like I'm in a daze, if that makes sense. So, it's definitely revitalizing, I should say. So, thank you for that.
Yeah. I see you. I feel you. I hear you. I am you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Wonderful. So, yeah, it is now you're starting to experience, it's your power, but it's also Reiki power, and it is all connected. It is all because we are all one. So just keeping that in mind, but absolutely, like, don't let that ego, come into play here. So we're going to wrap up here right now. If anyone has any last, thoughts or statements that they needed to get out, we'll give another minute or so. But I really wanted to let you guys go about your evening, whether it be, you're moving through the rest of your night. You might be revitalized and really energized right now, or you might be very relaxed and you might be ready to go right into sleep. And I just ask that whatever you move into, just move into it with an open awareness and that childlike curiosity of, oh, this is interesting, or what's happening, and not so much judgments of like, oh, I should be doing this right now, or I should be doing that. But just allow your intuition to guide you through this next portion after we end here. So, yeah, does anyone have any last statements or thoughts or questions? All right, well, let's bring our hands back together in the Gato position. Let's just take 3 deep collective breaths together to close out here. Inhale deep. Two more just like that. I thank each and every one of you for sharing your energies with me and with each other. The highest in me honors and sees the highest in each of you. Until next week, namaste. Good night. Have a wonderful evening. Reach out if you need any support throughout this next week. Keep doing the good work. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.